NewsX and I'm Megha Sharma. US President Donald Trump has signed an executive order ending birthright citizenship in the United States of America effective 20th of January 2025. This policy changes and ends a tradition that has been a cornerstone of American identity for over 150 years, granting automatic citizenship to anyone born on US soil. The new rule impacts not only children of undocumented immigrants, but also the children of legal immigrants, including those on H-1B visas and their families. This has caused quite the upheaval amongst Indian Americans and a number of Indians who are looking for greener pastures and wanting to live the American dream. Ambassador Pradeep Kapoor on the telecast with me. Actually, before I go to Ambassador Pradeep Kapoor, let's quickly get in Surinder Singh Lali. Surinder Singh Lali, what are going to be the immediate implications of this executive order, which has been sudden, it is radical as it's being seen by critics, which ends natural citizenship of United States of America?
Thank you, Megha, and it's an honor and pleasure for me to be here. And, when I used to go to work living in Staten Island to Manhattan, I used to take the ferry, and every day I used to cross the Statue of Liberty, which was gifted by France and which to America, as a symbol of friendship and unity. And it stood for liberty, democracy, equality, and justice. And now I feel this very order by, the Honorable President is challenging on the very basis of how America came into existence. I mean, honestly, it's only the waspy whites who moved to America. Otherwise, it's the land of the Red Indians. And it's people all across the world who came and built America. And Indians post the 1960s have made a very important contribution. I mean, be it NASA or Lockheed Martin, Boeing, the oil companies, and then, the Silicon Valley. And now, of course, it's going to be the artificial intelligence. So I feel that this is simply an act for him to respond to an election issue. And even if you see the way he's speaking out post-elections and the way he's still taking digs at Joe Biden, he still seems to be in the election mode. But getting back on this subject, it'll be challenged. It has been challenged, and it'll be challenged in court because it stands very much against on the very principle of how America was formed. So I don't think the last word, Megha, on this has been said yet. It's part of the mercurial Donald Trump, who simply is a showman. Even if you look at the way he was brandishing the sword and YMCA dance, I mean, honestly, I find all of that hilarious and ironical, because the irony bit is that somebody like this, who is such an impulsive individual, is the undisputed leader of the world today. So I'm concerned. And one last point is, no wonder the Secretary of the State, who we call the Foreign Minister in America, is called the Secretary of the State because maybe in the mindsets of the Americans, they think the entire world happens to be their state. Thank you, Megha.
Okay, I also have with me Patikrit Pain. Very strong speech that was made right after his inauguration ceremony completed. He minced no words and he spoke first of all about the executive order, saying that there was a national emergency that he is going to be imposing on the southern border. He spoke about the bringing up the wall. He spoke about that Mexicans need to remain in Mexico. And do you think this is going to heavily impact the way Mexican Americans and immigrants living in United States of America are going to have to face the repercussions of it?
Megha, in India, we have always consistently spoken about illegal infiltrators from Bangladesh. And so I think every country has the right to take decisions when it comes to how they would treat or deal with illegal immigrants. And therefore, whatever Trump has said and is doing is not something he is saying and doing after winning the election. He has been talking about it for quite some time. He went to the election on this plank. People of United States who are legitimate citizens, voters, voted for it, and he is executing that. What I believe or somebody else believes who are not citizens of America simply doesn't matter here, right? And I can speak about the country called India, of which I'm a voter. So far as Mexico is concerned, let it be very clear. Mexico for a long period of time actually benefited by facilitating illegal infiltration into United States. There are major drug cartels who operate from Mexico, supplying drugs and all kinds of narcotics inside United States. So if the government of United States takes certain decisions in terms of stopping it, it is for the people of United States. It is for the Supreme Court of United States to decide whether it is right or wrong. If he is absolutely wrong in what he is doing, he will be booted out of the government 4 years down the line, just as Biden has been booted out. But to say a legitimately elected government which has overwhelming support does not have the right to do, because some people think they have a fundamental right that the next 7 generations should get the right to stay in United States just because they got a job there. I do not believe that.
Okay.
There are many people from across the country who have gone to United States, have contributed to the American economy. They have been rewarded, and it is for the government of United States, the judicial process, to decide. I, as an Indian, will never want India to be a sinking pothole in which everybody can come in, because the concept of sovereign nation does not depend on that. Let's not get into the issue of, American Indians were driven out. There is a history, and I do not disagree to that. Today, as things stand, nobody stops anybody from coming to United States to work. This is absolutely a false proposition. All it is being saying is that just because you come does not mean that you will get an automatic birthright. It has been misused to the hilt. People, there is a birth tourism that used to happen in the United States. People come to United States just to ensure that the next generation takes birth there so that they get a citizenship. That every constitution gets amendment. It is getting amended. It will be challenged in the court of law. If it is good, it will be passed. If it is not, it will be rejected. But I think we should be rational, because we will not want that same thing to happen in my country, where everybody comes in. There are crores of Bangladeshis staying in India illegally, and we oppose it. Similarly, America has the right to decide what is good for their own people and citizens. Back to you.
Coming to you, Mitali Nikore, and there has been a very strong statement which is reassuring to Indian Americans and Indians wanting to live in America and work in America, where he says that we want competent people from India. This was a remark that he particularly made on the H-1B visa route. He said not only in the tech industry but also skilled labor, waiters, working blue collar jobs. Do you think when he talks about immigrants, when he talks about illegal immigration, he's primarily focusing on the Mexicans, and this does not hold true for Indians who are wanting to migrate to America?
No, absolutely, Megha. I mean, I agree with his point that at the end of the day, it's the people of a country, like the citizens of the country. Citizens of any country have the right to decide the future of their country. Citizens of a
Mitali, I'll have to interrupt you. There is an audio problem. Let's try to fix that. Let's try to fix that audio problem. Coming back to you, Surinder Singh Lali, the same question when he says and he reiterates that we have to have competent people. When he was asked the question about the H-1B visa route, because while Elon Musk just a few days ago was advocating that there needs to be more skilled labor from India that needs to come and inhabit United States of America, there were other members of the Republican Party who were against it.
Megha, thank you. And I think immigration in this context is a very wide subject, where Donald Trump, and by the way, Elon Musk himself came on the H-1B visa, and I'm sure so did probably Satya Nadella. They were the two most visible faces, in the ceremony. But having said that, I think this is a very wide subject here, because one point is, citizenship by birth. But there are others also, for example, the political asylum. Now, where Trump administration wants to change, and where I have to agree with the Trump administration, is that earlier you jumped the border, the police put you behind bars, made a file, and then let you go. And some of them, ended up doing the most heinous of crimes. But now the new change would also be that they will have to stay in their own country and fight their case before they're allowed in. So broadly speaking, I agree, but it's going to be a bit complicated for a lot of Indians too, where the parent of one spouse is legal and the second is not, or the child is not born there, or because for the long time a lot of people have also misused this as anchor parents. They would simply go on a tourist visa trip and stay there and have a child and come back. And not to mention, we have 18,000 Indians that are ready to be, deported back to India, and there are another 7.25 lakhs who are still under the scanner. So I think this matter is the jury's out in this one, in the literal sense, and a lot needs to pan out.
Patrick, this, taking forward, how is this going to impact the Indians wanting to travel to America? Or do you think this is going to have negligible impact in how America opens its arm wide for immigration to happen from India to United States?
So Megha, let me put it in perspective. I've stayed in Singapore for quite some time. Singapore has a very clear-cut policy. You can go there to work, you can even get a permanent residency, but citizenship is a separate issue altogether. They will not give it. Similarly, if anybody, I don't think America is a fool. I don't think Elon Musk and the entire Trump administration is a fool. They would still require people. H-1B visa is not at all a problem. People can go and work, and I think there will be no issue with that at all. The only issue is when people start hallucinating that just because I have an H-1B visa, I will go there, I will take my family. No problem with that. You can stay, but then I will apply for a permanent residency, which is green card, and then I will apply for a citizenship. And if I don't get it, then I will say that I have been betrayed by United States. That is where the problem is. You can go and work, but you cannot, have a project in mind that I would stay. And this global reset and pushback has only started. You would see more of it happening, and therefore I think there's no problem with people dreaming to go to United States. The only problem is you have to rationalize your expectations. No one stops you from going and staying there for 10 years. You should, and a lot of Americans of Indian origin have done wonderfully well for America. They have contributed to India as well. The presumption that I would get a permanency in my residency forever, for eternity, that is where I think American citizens, voters have the right to decide. Now, when you are talking about an American dream, as an Indian, if you have an American dream, then you are on borrowed time. It is a reality. So if they take a decision to give you a citizenship, well and good. Hundreds of millions have got the citizenship, millions rather, not hundreds of, tens of millions have got it. If you don't get it, doesn't mean that America has betrayed you. That is all I'm trying to say.
Okay.
I think in anybody.
Okay, but let's talk in practical terms over here. Now, Surinder Singh Lali, as we speak, and there have been millions and millions of Indians who want to live in America, who want to live the American dream, who want the citizenship of United States of America for the number of advantages that it brings about. Because they want their legacy to start when the first generation Indians are living in America, wanting to settle down, to do the hard work, they do the groundwork, do the labor for the second generation to have better opportunities, and the third, and then so on and so forth, where they then become more Americans than they are Indians. What are the disadvantages people are going to face now with this natural citizenship law being revoked?
You see, the disadvantages would be by people whose matter are sub judice. I understand, I absolutely agree with Mr. Pania that it's absolutely their prerogative to do what they have to do. But there could be some people who could be, between the rock and the hard place, because as much as if it is their prerogative to change the policy, which they ought to. But now it could, honestly, it could be anything but now America's lost, because a lot of people who went to America, because America is a melting pot. America was built by immigrants. So if anything, if it was to go all the way through, it's going to be America's loss, because there are a lot of jobs which are done by the immigrants, and I've lived there for over 10 years, which an average American wouldn't do. So, H-1B was never a favor being, given to Indians or anybody across the world. That's where, this is how they built America. So the only loss would be, probably will be America's loss, because now people might want to think about going to other countries where they might feel, they have more prosperity and more, to get into that system and eventually end up being a resident or a citizen or whatever they may desire to the best of their wisdom.
Patrick, again coming back to you. Now, the disadvantage that America could potentially have, and Surinder Singh Lali has mentioned that while there are these white collar jobs, you have the CEOs of the top notch big tech companies that are Indians, like Satya Nadella, like Sundar Pichai. Then there are the blue collar jobs, and there are also the menial jobs. Do you think America will face a shortage, a paucity of Indians traveling over there if the natural citizenship policy is revoked?
Look, I want to mention one thing. Asking and wanting to be an American citizen or American dream is not like asking like a chocolate from one's papa. It is a choice of the Americans to decide. Now, if there is a problem, if the menial jobs or the blue collar jobs, if because of this that is stopped, okay, then it is America's problem. If Americans tomorrow decide that no, I want them to come in, it's their choice. The issue is not about H-1B visa at all. If I join a particular organization anywhere, suppose I am in Delhi, I want to join a company in Jamnagar in Gujarat. Do I expect that my next 7 generations should get a job over there? It is not about contractual engagements at all. You can get an H-1B visa. If you are eligible, you will go, you will work. Maybe you will stay for the rest of your life. But just because you have tried to become more American than an Indian, then tomorrow if they ask you to leave, then you say, no, I am more American than an Indian, so I have a problem, I can't go back. Then that is your personal problem. That is not a problem of United States. United States is very clear about what they want. It is a transactional issue. They give you money, you go there and work. Where is the emotion of attachment that I want to be an American citizen coming? There is never a guarantee that you will get an American citizenship just because you have an H-1B visa. So if anybody doesn't want to go because the next 7 generations will not get a citizenship by birthright, don't go. Somebody else will go. I am not saying that NRIs have not done anything good. They have done incredibly well. We are very proud of the NRI community. All I am saying is that you have to rationalize your expectations because it is somebody else's country, not yours. Back to you.
Okay, coming to you, Mitali. Now, taking a look, viewing it from the perspective of those who spend decades over there doing the hard work, putting in their resources, creating the significant chunk of the GDP of the country. The richest immigrants living in America is Indians that constitute that percentage. They contribute, the immigrants that are contributing significantly to the GDP of America is Indians. Would it not be justified for them to then seek natural citizenship for the contributions that they have made?
So I think, Meghna, on this I completely agree with Pathikrit's point of view. At the end of the day, if you're getting a job in a company and you're going to any country to work there, you are not entitled to a citizenship of that country. You are entitled to a salary. That you are getting international work experience, all of which adds to your career growth and to your path. It does not mean that you should be getting citizenship when you are going to another economy and there. I've lived in 4 or 5 countries, throughout my career, be it the UK, be it, South Africa, be it, any other African country also have lived there in 4 or 5 countries. And it's not as though, we were seeking citizenship in any of these countries. So I think it is very important to...
I'll come back to you, Mitali. Again, the problem persists with the network. Adit, coming to you. Again, the same question. Are Indians not justified if they put in the hard work, if they are bringing in the significant chunk of the GDP that will allow for the economy to grow, to then demand their chunk of the pie?
No, absolutely. I think I'm pretty much in line with the argument that Pathikrit has put in. That we need to dehyphenate between the 2 stratas of immigration. One is the legal strata of immigration. So I'm a legal immigrant in Britain, for example. So I've put in the hard work. I've done 10 years of my time. I've paid my taxes. I've contributed to the economy, and as a consequence, I have been rewarded with some sort of a PR status or a citizenship. So that part is absolutely there. The other part is the illegal or the sort of illegal alien status category. That is where the problem, that is where the contention lies in most of these Western economies, where people are basically trying to go across into these countries because of the social benefits or because of better life opportunities or for better job opportunities. But as a consequence, they end up abusing the host nation's culture or tarnishing, certain attributes of that host country. And as a consequence, there is a bit of a dissemination, a bit of a sort of a stark issue between the existing communities and that illegal alien community. That is where the main problem is. That is why there is so much of hoo-ha about immigration in general. But all in all, I'm pretty much in line with the argument that those immigrants that go across into these Western economies, who assimilate with the local population, who respect the host culture, traditions, and their ethos, for them, if they have contributed to that economy, if they've contributed to those countries, I think it only makes sense that they be rewarded with, whatever PR status or whatever the visa status, etc. are.
Okay. Surinder Singh Lari, there have been a number of leaders from the opposition in America who have criticized this move by President Biden. They've said, birthright citizenship is what America has always stood for. And this is not fair to the people who have put in the hard work and energy and everything that they have, who also then become important pillars of the society to contribute in their own way in what America as a democracy and the superpower of the world is.
So what's the question, Megha?
The question that the opposition comes, do you think is justified, and the very tenets of America, when an individual is saying that this is what America stands for, and when you have ripped away that particular law, that particular policy, is there a new definition that America is building itself for?
I guess that's the case, because end of the day, this is what America stood for. Now it's absolutely their prerogative, their wisdom on how they choose to frame their immigration laws. But I see one more good thing in it, because we've done so many debates on the K elements, who make noises and speak against the Indian state. So now another positive thing will be that a lot of them will have their, them deported back to India. So I think that's going to be a good thing also, that a lot of the mess that some of these fringe rogues in these economies create under the bogey of free speech might end up in some jail somewhere in India.
Absolutely. Patikrit, again, there have been so many instances. There are reports that put in newspapers that put out their headlines about this entire donkey route, this entire route that is taken by several immigrants, whether they are traveling from India, whether they are Mexicans or wanting to enter into United States of America, who also take the route of Canada and then jumping and hopping into United States. Do you think they will also be deterred from entering the territory through these laws and these national emergency that has now been imposed?
But Megha, my question is, why should they not be stopped? I have no sympathy for any illegal immigrant, even if he is an Indian, if he has taken the illegal route to enter another country. And I will never support that person. If he is deported, that is the prerogative of the host country. So similarly, and that is where the misuse happened. People there has been a birthing tourism in the United States. People go there just to ensure that the next generation takes birth there, so that by citizenship, birthright naturalization process, they get the citizenship. So was this amendment to the 14th Amendment to the US Constitution, which happened in 1868. It was primarily about the slave population, and that has been extrapolated to include everyone. I mean, that cannot happen. Say, for example, no disrespect to anybody, if I work in a particular organization, say if I work in the Tatas for say 10 years or 20 years or say 30 years of my life, can I expect that I will get 5% share of the Tata Sons then? It cannot happen like that. You have worked, you have got paid for that. If you are good, if you are lucky, you get a citizenship. If you do not get it, you can't say that United States has betrayed you. And secondly, of illegal immigrants, even if you are a taxpayer, if a Bangladeshi citizen is caught in India, illegally staying in India for 30 years, are we to have sympathy for that person?
Okay.
Just because I
have an argument to that, and I'm going to get a response from Adit. Adit, as these people who are opposing this move are saying that this is the very ethos of America. Remember, America's was built by immigrants occupying the soil and the Native Americans now all but extinct. So now, what is it that Donald Trump at this point of time is advocating to the new America, where America is protecting its borders and not allowing immigrants to settle, when the very existence of America has been of immigrants occupying the land, wiping away the Native Americans and setting up their jurisdiction?
So I think, okay, so we're looking at it from a prism of history. I don't think whatever the historical past has been, you can translate it into contemporary politics and contemporary geopolitics. At the end of the day, we have to look at it from a prism whether or not the just solely kind of citizenship, which is, by right to be born in the soil, citizenship, is that being abused or not? In I think widespread opinion in various studies, it has been found, that particular citizenship route has been abused left, right, and center. So the contention is that there is a mandate that Donald Trump has received, that the people are not happy with that kind of abuses, and as a consequence, he is basically acting on that particular mandate of the people. So the people have decided that no longer we can stand this. We need to evolve our constitution to ensure that that we are able to address these kind of abuses in our system. So I think it's only fair that the government of the day, which has been elected, goes by the mandate that it's been provided to by the people.
Okay, all right. On that note, I'm out of time. I thank all of you for joining me on the telecast. We're getting to know some breaking news. The